Hello everyone. Today in my video, I'm going to be talking about valuing.coms After the Fall by Timothy M. Koller. My name is Kemal Murtadha and I'm from IPMI International Business School. So the agenda are, firstly, we'll talk about the critical points and then move on to summary, my opinion about the article, and lastly, it will be the conclusion. So the critical points of the article. First of all, we'll talk about the article first. The article titled Valuing.com's After the Fall by Timothy M. Koller discusses the importance of valuing.com companies after the dot-com bubble burst in the early 2000s. And the critical points of the article are, firstly, stock prices eventually reflect a company's fundamental economic performance. The article reminds us that the fall of dot-com companies in the early 2000s was a result of the company's fundamental economic performance. Therefore, it is important to value dot-com companies based on their economic performance rather than just their stock prices. Secondly, the discounted cash flow DCF approach is a useful valuation method. The article suggests that the DCF approach is a useful method for valuing dot-com companies. This approach involves estimating the future cash flows of a company and discounting them back to their present value. This method takes into account the time value of money and the risk associated with the company's future cash flow. Thirdly, real option analysis can be used to value dot-com companies. The article suggests that real option analysis can be used to value dot-com companies. This approach involves valuing the flexibility that a company has to change its strategy in response to changing market conditions. This method takes into account the uncertainty associated with the future cash flow of a company. Fourthly, valuing dot-com companies requires a thorough understanding of the industry. The article suggests that valuing dot-com companies requires a thorough understanding of the industry in which they operate. This includes understanding the company's business model, competitive landscape, and growth prospect. Lastly, valuing dot-com companies requires a long-term perspective. The article suggests that valuing dot-com companies requires a long-term perspective. This is because dot-com companies often have high growth potential but may take several years to become profitable. Therefore, it is important to consider the company's long-term growth prospect when valuing it. Okay, let's move on to the summary of the article. To summarize the article, Following dot-coms After the Fall by Timothy M. Koller, the author discusses the importance of valuing dot-com company based on their economic performance rather than just their stock prices. The article suggests that the discounted cash flow approach and real option analysis can be used to value dot-com companies. Valuing dot-com companies requires a thorough understanding of the industry and a long-term perspective. The critical points of the article are: stock prices eventually reflect a company's fundamental economic performance. And then discounted cash flow approach is a useful valuation method. Real option analysis can be used to value dot-com companies. Valuing dot-com companies requires a thorough understanding of the industry. And then lastly, valuing dot-com companies requires a long-term perspective. Okay, so let's move on to my opinion about the article. I find the article Following dot-coms After the Fall by Timothy M. Koller to be highly informative and relevant to the field of finance. The article touches upon several important principles that are crucial for anyone studying finance or involved in valuing companies, especially in the context of the dot-com bubble burst. Here are my thoughts on the key points in the article. Stock prices reflect economic performance. The article's emphasis on the need to focus on a company's fundamental economic performance rather than just its stock prices is a fundamental principle in finance. It reminds us that market sentiment and stock prices can be highly volatile, and true value is derived from a company's underlying financial health performance. And then secondly, use of discounted cash flow. The article's endorsement of the DCF approach is well founded. DCF is a widely accepted and rigorous valuation method that takes into account the time value of money and the risk associated with the future cash flow. As a finance student, I understand the importance of this technique in the determining a company's intrinsic value. Thirdly, real option analysis. The mention of real option analysis is insightful as it acknowledges the dynamic nature of business, particularly in the tech industry. As a finance student, I appreciate the relevance of this approach in capturing the flexibility and strategic choices companies may have in response to changing market conditions. Fourthly, industry understanding. The article emphasizes on the importance of understanding the industry is a key aspect of financial analysis. Being aware of the unique dynamic competitive landscape and growth potential within the specific industry is essential for making informed investment decisions. And then lastly, the long-term perspective. Valuing.com companies with a long-term perspective is sound advice. Many technology startups have high growth potential but may take time to become profitable. As a finance student, I recognize the value of assessing a company's long-term growth prospects and considering the time horizon for potential returns. Okay, so the conclusion of the article offers valuable insights that align with core principles taught in finance programs. It stresses the importance of thorough analysis, rigorous valuation method, and a forward-looking perspective when assessing companies, especially in dynamic industry like technology. As a finance student, I will see this article as a practical guide for approaching the valuation of companies effectively. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you very much.